is Werner Schroeder. I am the founder of the Ascended Master Teaching Foundation, which has its central office in Mount Shasta. Welcome to the lecture series, The Ascended Masters Answer the Fundamental Questions of Life. This lesson is entitled Lesson 9, The Unrecorded History of Mankind. The lesson consists of 4 parts. And during this lesson, we shall discuss the following subjects: the Lemurian age, the Atlantean age civilizations, the Sahara kingdom, the Meru civilization, the Poseidonus civilization. So, let us start with the Lemurian age and talk about the size and location of Lemuria. We can consider ourselves fortunate indeed that the Masters left us some tangible details concerning the rise and fall of several prehistoric civilizations. The Master said that this type of information released after 1930 had not been permitted to be given for 12,000 years. From the very beginning of man's embodiment on Earth, there were always several continents in existence upon the Earth's surface. So, when we talk about the Lemurian age, that does not mean that the continent of Lemuria existed by itself. The reason we connect a particular age to a specific continent is that during that particular time, its inhabitants were leaders in terms of knowledge and application of cosmic law and scientific achievements. Hence the names Lemurian age and Atlantean age. The information given by the Masters on Lemuria consists, for the most part, of details concerning the size, location and sinking of Lemuria. Lands belonging to the large continent of Lemuria included lands now under the Pacific Ocean, as well as Hawaii, the Easter Islands, the Fiji Islands, Australia and New Zealand. One dictation includes the lands in the Indian Ocean and Madagascar. The eastern coast of Lemuria extended to the area of San Diego, California. Some parts of Lemuria were in existence as far back as 1.4 million years. The Rocky Mountains in Wyoming, Tibet, China and Atlantis were above water 200,000 years ago. I'd like to mention some highlights of the Lemurian age. From the sparse data that is available, it seems that after the fall of man, the Lemurian civilization was characterized with the same up and down cycles that have been typical of recent races. The Ascended Master said, certain high points of the civilization occurred 800,000 years ago, 400,000 years ago, as well as 280,000 and 200,000 years ago. When we are talking about high points, we refer to a time period in which people were willing to listen to the still small voice within and had a working knowledge of cosmic law. The civilization of 200,000 years ago, as well as later civilizations on Atlantis and on the Amazon River, had the knowledge and use of the flames of the sacred fire to the point that the flames were visible. Before the cataclysm took place, there were warnings. 100 years before the sinking of the continent of Lemuria, the priesthood and the remaining inhabitants were warned of the potential cataclysm. The masses were advised to change their ways. Initially, there was great alarm, but when nothing immediately happened, the people and some of the priests did not heed the warning. Nearly all slipped into lethargy. The masters pointed out that the united priesthood could have prevented the sinking of Lemuria. Just before the cataclysm, some of the temple guards transferred documents, the various flames of the temples, and other valuables to certain places that would not be affected by the force of the catastrophe. Those places were India, China, Tibet, the Rocky Mountains, and Atlantis. Dwalkul, who later became one of the three wise men of the biblical times, participated in the safekeeping effort by transporting certain items to Central Asia. Lord Lanto, who was then the head priest at one of the temples of Lemuria, where precipitation was successfully practiced, transported the temple flame to the royal Teton retreat, where it remains to this day. In this way, the memories and the heritage of Lemuria were kept alive by a faithful few. Now some details on the sinking of Lemuria. Ascended Master Mary stated that spiritual arrogance destroyed the temples of Lemuria and Atlantis. She admonished the students to keep humble in your knowledge. In another dictation it was stated, cataclysms come only through the destructive influence of the human. And when that is removed, there will no longer be a cause for them. The Ascended Master Saint Germain, in a dictation given in 1936 on the Hawaiian Islands, answered Mr. Ballard's great desire for some authentic information as to the origin of the islands. Saint Germain explained that before the sinking of Lemuria, there was a long mountain range traversing the larger part of the continent in an almost west-east direction. The western limit of the range was located a bit more to the north than the eastern extremity of the range. A powerful double gas belt was located below it. It was the cause for the sinking of Lemuria 200,000 years ago. There was another mountain chain running in the north-south direction. These two ranges were the highest ones on the continent. Saint Germain added that today's geysers and hot springs in Yellowstone Park are situated on a gas belt. If it were not for this activity, the surface of the earth would be torn apart by the underground pressure. Therefore, the geysers and springs act as a safety valve. In the book Unveiled Mysteries, it is stated that a cataclysm occurred which tore the surface of the earth until all collapsed within itself. Lemuria sank below the waves of what is now the Pacific Ocean. It will rise again. According to the Ascended Master Cusco, Lemuria submerged overnight with a population of 60 million people. Now we come to the Atlantean age. And we will talk about the size and the location of Atlantis. The Atlantean continent originally consisted of a solid landmass reaching from Central America to Europe. According to one dictation, Europe then was part of Atlantis. Cuba, the Madeira Islands, and the Azores were also part of it. There's also some indication that a section of the United States was considered part of Atlantis, because the masters labeled temples located on the east coast as Atlantean temples. There were also other continents on the Earth's surface during the Atlantean age. An Atlantean civilization was first mentioned by the masters as having existed 500,000 years ago. The last remnant of Atlantis sank 10,000 BC. Therefore, we may state that the time period of the Atlantean age should be stated from 500,000 BC to 10,000 BC. This concludes Lesson 9, Part 1. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it, and I hope we will meet again for Part 2 of the lesson.